Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. I guess you can call it a podcast. You guys, we're here today to talk about Real Housewives of Potomac Reunion Part 2. I was entertained. Y'all know I either tell y'all if I was entertained, not entertained, there was some bullshit or what. It was fine. I was entertained. Let's get to it. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you. I'm not gonna complain. I'm not gonna complain. I'm not gonna complain about where I am. I'm doing well. Welcome to my new subbies. Thank you so much for subscribing. We are happy to have you be part of the beautiful people family. The BPs, if you would. And yeah, if you have not already, please consider subscribing. It is absolutely free of charge. Not a huge deal for you to just hit the button, but it's a huge deal to me. So if you can make that happen, I would appreciate it. Thumbs up the video. It does wonders for my analytics. And let's get to it, y'all. Let's get with the shits. All right, y'all. So when I say get with the shits, get with the shits immediately, like through the door. We start off with Ashley and her funny looking friend. Jesus, y'all. They showed her again. And when I tell you, that lady just looks so funny. But that's not nice. But she looked funny as hell. But he's asking her, well, how'd you feel when the crew played it back or whatever? And she's like, well, you know how Ashley do. It did not align with what she said, but she has always been very truthful to me. And I'm like, how do you know now? She's a liar. She's a fucking liar. Like, she just straight out lied. And if we didn't have cameras there, you could believe her because she was so adamant about everything that happened. Like, she's a liar. So, Ashley, she may have lied to you. You just don't know. And you've only known her, what, like a year and a half, something like that? Like, oh my God, she's my good friend that I've known for a year and a half. Ashley's so stupid. She says that the crazy looking girl said editing, and his mouth didn't go with what he said. And I'm like, that's bullshit because we didn't even see his mouth. We heard his voice. This is what he said. This is what actually came out of his mouth. So what is she talking about? Like, she's just still looking stupid. And Ashley is actually like co-signing this shit. Listen, Ashley was backed into a corner because she's dumb and there was no way for her to get out. All right, so we talk about Happy Eddie, and Andy's like, that was kind of a reach, and yeah, it absolutely was. Wendy says, listen, it just makes no sense that at this point you just can't even be nice to people. And it's true. Like, as soon as you say hello to a woman nowadays with a smile, you're hitting on her, which is bullshit. Happy Eddie is Happy Eddie, and that's it. And girl, funny looking girl, can I just tell you that no one there was hitting on you? No one there was hitting on you. And I would love to know how your husband feels knowing that every time you go out and have a girls' night or go out without him, you feel like everybody is trying to talk to you. Everybody likes you. Can you imagine the conversations that she had with him? Like, baby, they was all over me. And he don't know. Like, he don't have the cameras. He don't know. Lying ass. But yeah, we talk about Eddie. It's fine. Eddie can go ahead and keep being happy. Then we talk about Candace and the live that she did and Robin. And Robin admits, which was just true, she played it for the group because she was in her feelings about the way she felt like Candace was acting towards her when they were out of town. And we all know that Candace was acting like kind of standoffish because she felt like they were shitty for what they did to Wendy when she wasn't there. When she found out, she's like, yeah, yo, this is really shitty or whatever. And yeah, Robin was all up in her feelings and upset that Candace was feeling away. So this is why she did that. And she's just like, why are you upset that I'm playing what you said about our friends to our friends? Robin gets on my goddamn nerves every time she opens her mouth. And when I tell you everything that comes out of her mouth, like nothing aged well for Robin, for real. Any and everything that she says just does not age well. We gonna revisit that in a minute. Baby, and we're there. She just said out her mouth, listen, you should not be upset because Candace told her, you made yourself look stupid. It was just stupid what you did. You made yourself look crazy bringing the boombox and all that or whatever, which she did. What do you mean? Like, you said it, it's on camera, and everything that we go through and that we're doing is on camera, and it should be on camera. Bitch, did you just say that? Did you just say that? Like, I really hope, seeing as how Andy interviewed her a couple weeks after the reunion, he heard her say all this shit. He heard all this stuff come out of her mouth. And I swear to God, I hope he bring this shit up. Like, remember when you had said that everything y'all do should be on camera because you're on a reality show? Remember that? Yeah, I don't want to see Robin next season. I don't. I know some people do, some people don't. Some people want to see how she's gonna navigate around it. Some people want to see, how she and Juan are gonna. But the thing is, she and Juan are liars. When that girl, I watched the YouTube or whatever, and when that girl said, the mistress or the whatever she was, maybe they just only got together one time, but they were talking for like what, over a year? I don't know, but when she said that Juan said it's all phony, we all know that. We know that. So we're not emotionally invested in this bullshit. Like, I don't care about Juan and Robin. I don't. I don't care, which is why I don't want her back. Again, some people want to see her navigate around it and tell her real story. I don't give a shit about her real story. I don't give a shit about her fake story. I don't care about Robin. So then we very briefly get into the whole thing of Candace being really close to Robin and the fact that I guess in that live she had said some really nice things about Robin or whatever, but Robin's like, "Oh, I didn't see the whole thing. Somebody just sent me a clip, one of the blogs or whatever, so I didn't see the whole thing." So then why are you speaking on something you don't even know? But they go get to explaining how she was close with Robin because Robin, was nice to her when she first came. Like, who cares? Yada yada. And one of the questions a viewer asked was like, why isn't Wendy like your most trusted in this whole thing? My thing is, you can't make somebody like somebody. She wasn't close with Wendy. She has not been close with Wendy. We all know that. Now it seems like they're closer because they were fighting these girls together. Like, but she wasn't close with Wendy. She wasn't. So Robin's like, "Oh, it's not a competition," and I'm like, surely, because Giselle, like, your boss wins over everybody. Like, no, it's not a competition. You can't compete with Giselle with Robin. Y'all, can I just say, so it's lunchtime now. So they break for lunch and the husbands are getting there. So Eddie comes and Eddie looking good in his cream, y'all. But can I just say that I like Eddie more and more every time we see him because of his personality. He's a nice looking man. However, his personality, Wendy's like, "Man, we only been here an hour and Mia done already brought you up 3 times." He's like, "Huh? Oh, she got a thing for me?" And I just fell out because I like that shit. Like, just be able to laugh that shit off. And then she's like, "I guess so." And they laughed. And then we know that Mia does have a thing for him because she said she would gladly do a whole, swapping thing or whatever as long as they had permission and Eddie was involved. And I'm like, "Wendy, you better watch Eddie. You better watch him." Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot to say when Candace was talking and going back and forth and Mia kept interjecting and Candace was just like, "Shut up." I'm like, Lord, but yeah, so G comes and Candace is like, "Hey, you looking good in your ascot." He's like, "Hey, I would hug you, but we don't want them problems." And she's like, "Yeah, we don't want nobody to feel uncomfortable." So they had a laugh about that. And then Wendy lets Chris know, "Listen, we fighting for you tooth and nail. Your wife was just like, shut up, and didn't even look at the person." Y'all, they be doing Mia. Wasn't it Mia she was talking to? I can't remember, but they be doing Mia dirty. Cause when Wendy later on say even dumbass Mia, when I tell you I died because Mia literally just sat there looking dumb. Yeah, we coming back from lunch and Robin is just, she's such a, I gotta change my tampon, y'all, while she running. I mean, there's not a classy bone in her goddamn body. Not one. Not one classy bone in this broad's body. Like, she is just ridiculous. All right, so now we get into Karen and her business endeavors and the fact that the live show, it seems like she's copying them and everything. We have Robin saying that they have a successful podcast, 4 million downloads. And I'm like, who downloading this shit? Which one of y'all? Let me find out. Let me find out one of y'all downloading this bullshit. Like, seriously? Who wants to hear them? I've never in life listened to one. And I can I can actually say that I never will. You know how people say never? No, I will never listen to a podcast of theirs. And then she goes on to say that, before we started our podcast, we had never listened to one podcast. And I'm sorry, I'm with Wendy. Wendy was like, that's not wise. She's like, don't hate. Girl, it's not wise. Like, why would you start something and want to do something? How do you even know what it is you're trying to do? I don't even believe her. I'm sorry. I don't even believe her. With YouTube and it's nothing but podcasts. I mean, and hell, this, I guess you can call it a podcast. See what I did? See what I did there? Um, yeah, I just feel like Robin is lying. Why would you do something and you do absolutely no preparation for it whatsoever? Again, if you didn't look at any, then you are stupid. That's not wise, dumbass. But Karen, we get to Karen. She's saying that, she had already let them know she was going to do it when they had that little picnic, and we don't get a flashback or anything, so we don't know if that's true. The candles, she said, with all due respect, Wendy, I had already said a long time ago that I was going to be moving into candles. I didn't say anything when you came over. I didn't want to steal your thunder. And I do remember in my review saying either, Karen is stealing it totally, or she just didn't want to, pretty much steal her thunder, or she didn't want to give her any answers, or because remember at that time Wendy was acting like she was a space cadet and didn't know anything about business, which I wasn't buying. I'm sorry. You have how many degrees and you can't figure out a little bit of business and what comes next and what. I wasn't buying that. But I just feel like, yeah, I believe Karen when she say that. Now, the show or whatever, variety show, she said she would credit inspiration from Carol Burnett. Andy is like, oh, I thought you said Wendy Williams. And she's like, be shady, Andy. I got you. I'm with it. And it's so funny because her legs are like 3 times darker than the rest of her body. I'm like, I don't know if they sprayed the shit out of your legs with the tanning spray, but her legs are, I mean, of course, Karen always looks good, but her legs are like 3 times darker. Like, I'm not lying. Go see. All right, so wrapping Karen up, we find out that, she has the Ladoms, and those are her babies, she said, or whatever. When she said Ladoms rise, everyone rise. And he asked her, well, if Robin had the Robins, what would they be? And she's like, boring. I said, no truer words have ever been spoken on this stage. Like, that sums it up. Boring as shit. And a little stupid. I'm sorry. And no, you know what? I can't say that because I actually have some people that watch me that ride for Robin. Shout out to Phil. But I don't understand how. But so I can't call them stupid. Then we find out about Giselle, and a person asked if she actually had the hysterectomy yet or whatever, and she says that this is the most feedback she's ever gotten out of 7 seasons. And Candace says, because this is the most real you have been. That's the only thing that you've ever shown. Gonna have to agree. So still staying with her hysterectomy or whatever, she says that she had the hysterectomy, and a surgery that was supposed to take 3.5 hours ended up taking 8.5 hours. Her kids were very worried. It was very traumatic for her, and she was about to become a little emotional. And she's like, we'll talk about it later. And Andy says, no, we'll talk about it now. And I'm like, yeah. I was honestly like, yeah, Andy. Because y'all know, Giselle don't let nobody off the hook. Giselle always want to get into everybody's shit, but she don't ever want to get into hers. So now that you are about to show some feelings and really have something going on, you want to wait until later? Absolutely not. And that's kind of what Andy tells her later on. Like, listen, you always, Candace even says she bullies people into coming out with their story. She's like, if they don't want to talk about it, I don't make them talk about it. That's a lie. That's a lie. You bully them, like Candace said, into telling their story on her and Robin. Yeah. All right, so she said her kids were, like really frantic because at one point they were getting updates and then suddenly they were no longer getting updates. So, bottom line, y'all, why it looked like Robin was finna just cry her heart out, like she just wanted to, like boo-hoo crying at the fact that Giselle had a hard time. She said she ended up having to stay overnight. She had told them that she wasn't going to end up having to stay. She did. So a whole thing. I mean, here's the thing. Even though don't like Giselle, don't want her kids to suffer. Like, I don't want her kids to sit up worrying and, have a rough night of it. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. Andy said, glad you're feeling better. We're glad she's feeling better. Whatever. All right, so then we're talking about Giselle and her men, if you want to call it that, and the fact that she sees the older guy, when he comes to town. However, the young guy calls to see when he can come to town. She doesn't ask him to come to town. I mean, she doesn't ask the older one to come to town. She just sees him basically just kind of playing him. He has energy. What's her name? What's his name? Andy asks if you're still with him, will he be on the show? And she's like, yeah. He asked if the girls met him, and yeah. And I'm like, damn. She let them girls meet any and everybody. I swear to God, poor girls. No wonder. Like, them girls barely like their mama, y'all. It's crazy. But yeah, so they met. Listen, if she's having fun, apparently it's a 16-year age difference. Robin says she can do the math, and I don't know. I don't know that we care. All right, so we talked to Mia about the drink and everything, and Andy is just like, listen, what's the relationship between you and Peter? And she's like, oh, we never did anything. And he's like, yeah, I used to do it with his girlfriend or something, right? And she's like, well, they're not together now, and they weren't together at the time, but yeah, there's this whole thing. So Andy's like, listen, it looked like whatever you had going on, and whatever Wendy had going on with Peter, you were trying to make it more than it really was. And she's like, no, I wasn't. I was just trying to talk to Wendy about business. She's the one that made it about threesomes. Girl, it wasn't your business. That's the problem, and that's the reason. How are you going to talk to Wendy about business that she's doing with somebody else? And once again, Peter wasn't even fucking with you. You all running up behind him like a little dog, like, oh my God, Peter's my family, my family. And he's just like, oh, hey, girl, hey. And like, he definitely was not giving you any attention, none whatsoever. So we get to her saying eventually that Wendy was trying to give Peter the cookie. She just sounds dumb as hell. Like Wendy, I mean, Mia is just a liar like crazy, where you can't believe nothing that comes out of her mouth. It's so ridiculous. And she says it like she's telling the truth. So when she says it, Candace is just like, yo, you can't just be saying anything when you ain't got nothing. Like, you just making stuff up, and it's ridiculous. Like, y'all going way too far now. And I agree. I just feel like, listen, whatever makes good TV, these girls are gonna say it, and that's not okay. Because listen, what if Eddie actually believed this shit, and she's like, oh, I got receipts, and I have, Peter showed me the camera, and I'm like, what? So they were making out at the bar? Like, do you really think she's stupid enough to do that? Mia just sound dumb, y'all. She just sounds so stupid. All right, so we're now talking to Lioness Robin about the fact that she was, blaming Wendy for the whole situation. And she gets into the whole thing of, no, I just really did not want her to get in trouble. And I was really just like, you should not do this on TV. And they're like, no, you definitely said either fight or sit down. And she's like, no, that was after the fact, after she kept going. And she's like, I'm not justifying what Mia did, but I understand her frustration. What the fuck was she frustrated about? Can somebody tell me? What was Mia frustrated about except for her causing her own frustration? Because you wanted to insert yourself in this lady's business and she wasn't having it. So what was she frustrated about, Robin? And Andy is like, no, you were the one recording and all that. And she's like, I was just trying to get her to stop. And I really thought that no, I didn't like her at the time. And I really thought that Karen should have been the one to diffuse the situation. And Karen is like, yo, leave me out your bullshit, because basically you're the one that's gaslighting the situation. And Andy is like, you mean throwing gas on? All right, sorry, y'all. So Andy's like, you don't mean gaslighting. You mean throwing gas on the fire. And actually, I was kind of happy that he said this as well, because so many people use the term gaslighting wrong. They just really, really do. However, yeah, she wasn't gaslighting her. She definitely was throwing gas on the situation and kind of like antagonizing Wendy, telling Wendy that she's antagonizing Mia, but you sitting here with a recorder in her face, antagonizing her. So yeah, you sure were. And y'all just think, I don't care. I don't care. I just want to move on from this because it is what it is. And we know that even though Wendy went off or whatever with this whole, I don't fuck with you, and she's crying and she's just so upset or whatever, she's going to still talk to Mia if they are on the show again next season. They're going to have to be co workers and work together. And it's just a lot. Listen, much ado about nothing is what I'm getting. All right, so then we get into the whole thing of Charisse having to hold Robin back. And, Andy is like, yeah, she had to get up, she had to touch you. And she's like, well, she just kept telling me to stand over and over. And I feel like, wasn't she saying something like stand up in it, stand in your shit, something like that? Like, she wasn't saying stand up. Like, I just, Robin is just dumb as shit. She's dumb as shit. And she didn't mean literally stand up. She wasn't telling you to stand up. She was telling you to stand up in it. But anyway, Wendy just says, listen, I'm from a place where if you stand up, you having a heated argument, you stand up, anything can happen. And yeah, I'm from that place too. I'm from that place where if we're sitting, the person get up, you get your ass up right away. Like, you don't stay seated when somebody is standing over you. That's the dumbest thing ever. So we all getting up. You getting up, we all getting up right away. Right away. So Andy was just like, yeah, if anything happened and people were to stand up or whatever, I'm going to get up just to diffuse the situation right away. And yeah, I mean, that's just how it works. And yeah, Charisse did a good job. It's the one good thing she did, because why is she here? That's the one good thing she did, was getting up and holding this girl back, because we don't know what Robin could do. We don't know. Okay, so they end up talking to Ashley about the fact that she, like, Monique was super violent and she was way more violent than Mia. However, you came to Wendy's defense, but you didn't come to Candace's defense or whatever. You even wrote a letter, in defense of Monique, and what she did was way more violent. And Ashley was just like, listen, nobody was coming to Wendy's defense, basically. Everybody was rallying around Candace when that happened, saying that, Monique was out of control and everything, and nobody was coming to Wendy's aid. So basically, she's a Captain Save-A-Ho, is what she's saying. Sorry, not trying to call Wendy and them hoes, but like, basically, she's what? She's rooting for the underdog, whoever the underdog is. I don't know, but we don't care. Like, Ashley is just Ashley. So then we get to Giselle. Okay, so then we get into Wendy just kind of like really crying. He asked Giselle something, y'all, and I can't. I don't know. I don't know. I know I just watched it, but I don't know. It just made no sense. And Giselle, all I just remember her saying is that she don't like her. I don't like her, so it doesn't matter because I don't like her. And Wendy just keeps saying, I don't like you either. And like, she's just very, I don't like her, I don't like her, when she was actually in the wrong. You don't like Wendy because Wendy gathered you last season. She gathered your ass like nobody has before, and you don't like her because of that. Okay, fine, Giselle. Then we have Wendy going into this whole crying thing of, how she was violated and she could have really fucked her up, but she didn't, because of who she is on the inside. And she's crying and she, I only came and apologized and, had that moment with you so we can move on as a group, but I don't really F with you. And Mia's just like, okay, then don't F with me. Like, she's doing all this crying and Mia's just like, I don't care. Like, this lady don't care. Girl, don't give her all that. And then Giselle's like, hold up, weren't you guys just like bumping cooches or whatever after that? And just Mia's like, I'm not Mia. Wendy's like, girl, it was the tequila. We all show each other our stuff. And I'm like, who does that? Like, what's happening with these grown women who have a couple cocktails and then suddenly, I don't know, everybody's lesbian. Everybody, I don't understand, but it happens on more than just this show. Like, a lot of our shows we're seeing where it's just, I don't know, I just don't understand. But yeah, so she starts laughing. She felt better, I guess, at the talk of that. They're gonna be fine. So this was nothing. All right, so then we get into the whole colorism talk, and Andy is like, listen, I'm a white man. I don't know nothing about it. I asked them if they want a mediator. They said no, they can do it. So they talk about colorism amongst themselves, where Andy just kind of sits back. Candace starts off, and I really feel like maybe they should have had a mediator, you guys, because she starts off by giving the actual definition of colorism. And does everybody touch and agree on the fact that this is, the actual definition? They all agree. And then she gets into the whole thing of, listen, I'm the emotional one, I'm the screamer, I do all this. And Robin has done the same thing. And then dumbass Giselle is like, I just don't see what that has to do with your color, the fact that you're emotional. And I'm just like, what the fuck? She literally just told you what that means. Robin does the same shit I do, and she's not perceived the same way. Like, what is wrong with Giselle? She's always trying to make people look stupid. And Candace is like, am I not making sense? And Wendy's the only one that's like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. We all understood what the fuck you were saying, Candace. I'm sorry, except for Giselle and Robin and Ashley and Mia, people probably who don't want to know what you're saying. So I really do feel like they need a moderator, because maybe then they would have respected a little bit more than coming from Candace. But she did a good job. It's fine. And then we talked to, Karen jumps in, and she's just like, listen, I own the plantation or whatever, and colorism is taught early on, and it's a real thing. So I appreciate the fact that Karen came in and said, yeah, it is an actual real thing. Then we have Ashley saying, yeah, I do get preferential treatment because I am, I was going to say high yellow. Because I'm a yellow girl, basically. And, then Candace starts crying, and she's like, her and Wendy, we just wanted that to be, like, the fact that you even acknowledge that it exists is huge. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this scene, because fuck acknowledgement from light-skinned women. I'm sorry. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. And I'm chocolate, you guys. I'm chocolate. The thing is, I grew up with, like, the whole gamut. It just ran the gamut in my family. Like, I have a high yellow, and I'm sorry if anybody is offended that I'm saying that, but y'all know that in the black community we do. I have a high yellow sister, and like, a lot of people in my family, high yellow. Like, like, we have all different shades and colors, and it's not a huge deal. Like, it just isn't. And I'm sorry, I just don't have the same experience that a lot of chocolate people have, where I've always liked being chocolate. And that's not to say that my family, I will tell you, I've had, like, different nicknames and things like that that's come from cousins or whatever. It's never hurt my feelings ever, because I've just always been strong in the fact that, yeah, I may be chocolate, but I'm dope as hell. Like, she's a pretty girl. So I won't lie, you guys. I was a little irritated with this scene, because I just feel like, but I'll let them have that. And I don't want to take that away from them. That if that's how they, felt at the time, and they were very touched, and it was a moment for them, I'm going to let them have their moments. But I just really, really wish that the chocolate people knew how beautiful they really are. Like Wendy's skin, like perfect. Like, it's amazing. Candace, beautiful. These are beautiful women. And I don't know, I just feel like you don't need validation from, and Ashley didn't validate them. I guess it's just the acknowledgement that yes, it does exist. But if you know it exists and you feel it and you've had it happen to you, why do you need her acknowledgement? But again, I'm gonna let it go. Yeah, then we have Mia saying that she feels the same way Ashley does, because she's raising a brown girl. And I'm just like, Mia can just fuck off, honestly. She can just shut up. No one cares. Mia, save it, because you weren't going to say anything. You feel the same exact way Ashley does, but you didn't say it. You didn't come out with it. Like, y'all, I just cannot stand. Y'all already know. I can't stand Mia, Giselle, Ashley, and Robin. I just don't like them. All right, y'all. So we wrap it up with Mia and Jacqueline. Jacqueline comes out. She looks pretty. And she said something when she was getting ready about Mia, like, really saying bad things about her kids. I don't know. I mean, I don't have any of them on social media. Did Mia say anything bad about her kids? I can't imagine. Excuse me. I mean, her saying that your kids are not her responsibility is not saying something bad about the actual kids, but I don't know what she means. But anyway, she comes out, and basically, with this whole segment, all we get to is the fact that they haven't seen each other since they finished taping, and Jacqueline felt like Mia brought her on the show so that she could be like, so that she can pretty much kind of look down on her to make herself look better. And that is what I said. That is what I said from the episode, first episode with Jacqueline, with her saying she got on my this, she got on my that, she needs this, she needs that. And Andy is just like, Mia, when you were living with them, did you feel like the underling, and now you're just trying to pay her back for that? And Mia said no. And I feel like Jacqueline said no too, as well, saying that Jacqueline's mom or her parents treated Mia just like, any of the other kids. So she didn't feel like an underling. So that's good. But she definitely brought her on to kind of shit on her. She did. I don't care what no one says, she did. And Jacqueline's just like, listen, her saying stuff about the fact that my nanny or whatever. And she's like, I'm the one that gave her my nanny. My sister was nannying for me. Mia didn't have anyone. And since she has no family, and y'all, that's shitty that Jacqueline says that all the time about Mia. Like, she constantly reminds Mia that she has no one. And she's like, so I basically gave her my sister. And yeah, I mean, we just go back and forth with the whole thing. Mia's not as close with the family as she is because of everything that's happened. The mom hasn't seen it because Jacqueline doesn't want her to. However, the entire family is pissed off at Mia because they've seen it and they're disgusted with her. So we'll pick it up in the next episode. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see Chris like get his shit off about Giselle and everything. I can't wait, you guys. So if you are not a subscriber, please consider subscribing once again. It is absolutely free of charge. Like the video, you guys, does wonders for my analytics. And I also have to say, if you are still here, you are the real MVP. Thank you so much. I will see you guys in the next video. Smooches.